Okay, when I release this video, I'm going over the meta teams. At least 5 meta teams, endgame, and a couple of early games team. Low to high investment. So I'm going to show you the meta units and the weakest version of them, meaning for new players, like say you have Tawil, but you don't have Hamel or whatever, what you can use with them. And as you progress with pools, with whatever, you make the team stronger and reach the final endgame meta version of the team. Right now, I'm talking over a clip of me playing Blue Will. Blue Will is a pretty cheap team. It's one of the best teams in the game. You have counter, you have poison, you have every possible thing, since it's less RNG than Mono Twill, and it's less investment. You do not need G-Doll. G-Doll is the peak team, and I'll cover that first. I'll also cover Gellet, Dorsain, Castor, all the meta teams. So this is Tawil, the first meta comp we'll talk about. Tawil can be played in a variety of ways. The best way to play her is Blue Will or Mono Will. Mono Will refers to pure chaos, and Blue Will refers to, playing her in blue, which I recommend all players to do. I do all my content in it, and I don't even need plus 12. You don't even need plus 12. You don't even need OE. You only need E2 for this. So in this video, we're going to talk about different investment levels for the teams, because a lot of people see the only end game and think it's unreachable. So I'm going to show you the cheapest possible version to run each meta unit without utter limiteds. So Tawil, E2. Blue is less RNG than Chaos, because Blue has the better cards, skill cards, and you can scale with technical damage and red stance, all that gimmick. So I'm going to go over the two Tawil comps. So if you want to play your low investment, high investment, Blue is the best choice. So all you need to do is add in the Caucus, any dupe level, for his skill and retain. How it works is that when Tawil copies Caucus's Shattered Halberd, she does a shit ton more counter, and you have like you saw in my video, you can build up to 80,000 counter within the first two turns. It's quite easy to do with Tawil and Caucus endgame. But the real key of why this is good is this counter technical damage, equal damage. In Tawil, double plays this, can crit, generates a lot of counter. And this description right down here. If you have Caucus at, I think, E2, I'm going to check to make sure. Nope, it's E1. Only E1 Caucus. This gets you 20 Alienus. This will help charge Tawil right back up so she can exalt or over exalt again. This is a very good card for her to copy if it's top deck with her top deck mechanic. Again, watch my Tawil videos to understand how that works. Now, next, what we're going to talk about right now is... Hold on, I'm going to make sure the audio is recording, because I don't want to talk and have you guys not hear anything. I assume the audio is recording. So let's continue the video here. So if you top deck Protective on Tawil, this is key on Tawil, especially with retain cards. With Hamel Soldier, that's why she works well with Hamel and Caucus. Let me go back to her card so I can read what it does, so you guys know. That's her Omni card. We call it the Understand card because the old name was Understand. We're not going to call it Omni. So this is the Understand card. It copies the top card of your deck. If that top card of your deck has Retain, this card is also Retain, and it's still the copy card for next turn. So you don't actually want to play it if it's a Retain card you don't want to play. So if it's a Protective, or if it's a Hamel card, let's see, Hamel right here, or a Hamel Soul Virture, you don't play that card. You just play your cards in hand, don't use any insights, so you can keep that card in your hand for next turn, so it can dupe something better, for example. For example, like another Wings, Opinion, whatever. I don't want to go too in-depth of it. I want to make this quick showcase of all the 5 meta comps and the investments you can put in. So this is what you need. Core. This is your core right here. Low investment. Only need E2 Tawil. Eventually, you want E2 Hamel. And that's it. Stop. I have him OE. because I used the random selector banner and he was at +3. I was very annoyed. It's not OCD. I hate people using it, but it's a little pet peeve being +3 and not +4. So I have a little pet peeve, but not enough for me to pull more because she can clear all content just fine and it's a waste of money. So G-Doll is obviously the end goal, but for a main team, you don't need her. What you can do is you can slot in any blue unit and just don't play her cards, so like Celeste, for example, or the Knot. The Knot is probably the strongest option here for low investment. She's just a standard unit, mostly for her E3, this. Immune to fragile, weakness, vulnerable. This is insane on some bosses and can cheese it. And it provides you a source of AoE. So AoE based on your counter. If you're building counter on Blue Will, that is your big AoE source without RNG, is the Knot, and you keep you alive early game. So let me just use, this is the comp I used when I started out in the game, and it worked quite well. So obviously you want to use Costco. These only 3 SSR wheels you want to use. So Arc 1, for example, you would want to use the Costco build, which is Cursed Relics. Cursed Relics are broken. And you put 2 more Costos on Nautilus. Nautilus is not here to do anything special. So let's put on the 2 other wheels I recommend. Put on Volcano, free refreshes. Put on Greed for extra starting gold and 2 relic slots. Now, Caucus. What wheels do you put on him? So you either add more R wheels if you're a new player for Arc 1. Arc 1 chapters 1 for 9. Or you add in his wheel. His wheel is quite good. This is good. This is very good, but the sigil yield is quite good. So your second wheel. So you can put any other wheel because I know you're a new player. Other content creators are fucking dog shit in the game. They don't know the new player experience. So let's say you need health. You put on Gluttony. I don't ever use Gluttony. Let's say you can just read what these does. Like boss battle starts. This is pretty bad. Key Flare, this is good. Again, these wheels are broken. That's what got nerfed in Arc 2. So just go over the brown wheels and see what you need for your comp. Let's say there's a stage or a boss that gives you a lot of symptom on the way to the boss. You grab this to get rid of your symptoms. So any one of these are rated wheels. Like this. You want more sigil. So when I started out, new player, if you want to go for the story blind, stages blind without looking at the maps or whatever, not, you can grab this, and it extends your vision range so you can plan out your path in the roguelike more. This is what I use when I started out. If you have, my spreadsheet open with the map section, you don't need this. But if you want to play through it blind, you can put this to have insight in the future. So this is basically the starter version. Now we're going to make it stronger. Eventually, you're going to want to put the fucking Steppenwolf on Caucus, And let's say you want Feast on Ogier. Now, as you spend more money, get more gear dupes, how do I make this team stronger for Arc 2? I'm going to go over the 5 metacomps and how you make it stronger. So this is starter. So next, what you want to do to eventually you're going to get enough stats from levels that you don't need Nautilus for the defense. You only need these 2 units for your defensive playstyle for her 4-wing and his protective and his defenses, and with the Birth of the Soul. So when you get to the point where you don't need Nautilus's defense, you just want more damage, more heals, all that, and these 2 units are your main shielders, you replace her for a G-Doll. This is Endgame. It's a very expensive investment plus 4 G-Doll. So Endgame plus 12. So again, I'm going to show you the full Endgame, version, the strongest it can possibly be. Do you need this? No, you do not to clear all content. But if you want to make it as strong as possible, this is what you do. Put Birth of the Soul, max HP. Remember, max HP, very important. Increases your counter cap, increases your poison cap. And Hamel, what wheels do you put on him? Put in that and the heart. Or any other SQ wheel you have. So you want all SSR wheels. This is why we live in wheel jail. So this is the end game version of this comp. Now, we're going to go over to the next comp. So, this is Gellet. This is Gellet. She's an endgame meta comp. You only need her E3. You can pull for more copies of her if you want, but she can clear all content at E3 just fine. Now, when you start out, you will not have dies. You will not have these units. However, what's essential? You replace the posse with Lone Seed, Chapter 7 posse, to do per flails. This is important. Where's the Lone Seed? Right there. They just surely add a search option there. So, I don't have dies. You don't need dies to play over. You can put her with, let's say, Faint, Aegis to help you live, these two, and then slot in Celise early game. Why do you use this? Because blue tentacles, white stance will help you live. Because if you're a new player, if you have a new account, your max HP is going to be very low because max HP is based on account level. And her whole gimmick is she heals you back up with the Bloodthirsty Flails. So it heals you for 15% of your lost HP. If your HP is 100 and you're at 1 HP, 15% of that, you're going to heal like 15. If it's 1,000, you're going to heal 150. So early game, you will kill yourself playing Gellet. So to prevent yourself from killing yourself, you mix her with blue. If you really want to use her, I do not recommend using her very early game. Your account level is low. You do not have enough health to use Gellet. So put Costco on Celise. Put DR on her. And I just can wear whatever key flare wheel you have. Any key flare wheel, put on Costco. So this is starter. Again, I'm going to add the wheels. Put R wheels whatever you have. If you're a new player, you're not going to have much. So just add the R wheels, the brown wheels, to all these units. All you need to focus on is pulling this wheel. This plus 12 wheel is the most essential part. If you don't have it, put in either hand, cat, and any of these SR wheels. Combine it with her wheel. And all these units are carrying your shit wheels, your Costco wheels. So this is how you do it. So eventually, as you get more money and resources, you drop the Celise. You can drop the Faint. You add in, you eventually get E2 dies. The comp is basically done. It's done. You have the E2 dies. You put in dice wheel. You don't even have to use the second wheel here. You just ignore it. You put in cup for the second wheel. Doesn't matter. You put on the Covenant, Silver Baby, Life Drain, on dies. Done. Put an Alimus on Aegis so she can act so often. Again, put whatever wheel you want. Put an Aegis wheel and something else. It just auto recommends this. So I'm just going to remove this. No, what am I doing? Here we go. It's laggy today. So, boom. Done. This is starter. Eventually, you're going to need to fill the last slot here with whatever. You fill it with a unit you don't play the cards of. Because it's mainly these three units. This unit, it just sits there. That's why people add Horla or Celise here. They just sit there doing nothing. While these three are the stars of the team. Now, eventually, if you have a very strong Aegis, you make her the SQ bot. Why do you make her the SQ bot over dies? It's because of decomp. But generally, if you want consistency, you make dies the SQ bot. So, 4th unit. Again, watch my Gellet video. It could be anyone as long as it doesn't clog your hand because you need hand space, or you don't have to play their cards. Like Horla. Horla is the endgame version of this comp. But if you have the Celise, you can slot her in. If you have any of these, some people will even slot Hamlin. He doesn't really work that well, but he works well enough. Or Ramona or anyone. You just slot in anyone that you don't plan on playing their cards, and their cards doesn't cuck your hand. Doesn't have too many retains. Because you need your hands to be filled up full of Bloodthirsty Flails. Let's go over Castor, the strongest Ultra unit. He's very strong, even use him. He can do A5 by himself. He works well with anyone. He's very good, unlike fucking Clem, which is fucking garbage in every aspect. So, there are a lot of comps you can run with him. There's no wrong answer, really, because he auto-crits, he can carry by himself. Basically, you want to find things that don't want to play cards along with him. Things that help him build more, stall more, so he can get his big E3 turn. Now, would I play Castor DPS without E3? Him without E3 is pretty weak because how E3 makes him a strong DPS is this. Every 3 Onyx Plumes you play, which is his whole gimmick, increases his spinal damage by 10% in this battle. It stacks up significantly. So he's not a DPS until you hit this. He's just an actual support unit. If you hit E3, he's a DPS now. He's a great DPS. Now, what do I run with Castor? You run with Jenkins. You run with Winkle. Jenkins, Winkle. Anyone. But even Blue. Even any realm. As long as you don't care about whoever you're running with them. Put him with Sal. Put him with Dies. You don't care who you're running with. It's all about the wheels and the max HP. Why the max HP players? Your shield is capped by how much max HP you have. On minus certain circumstances. If you have 1,000 HP, you can only generate 1,000 shield that turn. Unless with certain units that explicitly say it bypasses shield cap. Like Nautilus. Nautilus somewhat works here if you need to bypass shield cap. So, here we go. Let's see, where does it say that? It normally says it in a lot of things. So let's see. Here we go. If anything that says ignore shield limit, because the shield limit is your max HP. Or is it ignore shield limit? So you want anything that has that. And what I would recommend for new players, if you want to retain your shields, I don't even like retaining shields. You will hardly encounter in real endgame. In your games, in early game, you will encounter situations where you have leftover shields. In endgame, you will hardly ever have leftover shields. But if you want to keep leftover shields, Nautilus wheel is the only thing I know that. You put this on not Castor. So, at end turn, retain 40% of remaining shields. Is more than that. I think it's like 50 or 60 if you have the wheel maxed out. I don't really pull for this. Yeah, it's 50. It's 50% of your remaining shields. So, this is the only way you can retain it by a wheel. And you put in 2 other units. You can put in blue if you want. I run them with some blue sometimes. I put them in my Arita so we can keep them live while she scales tentacles here. Because even though, like people say, oh, but you want to keep the Castor plumes, you just reshuffling deck. It's a draw. It's fine. You do it just fine here. And you're really just building up the things anyway. You can put in there. Basically, you can solo carry himself. You just put in someone that doesn't anti-synergize with him, if that makes sense. Like, you would never want to run him on a team with, let's say, Lei. Let's say, let me remove. What other low stats? Never want to run him with Lei. Never want to run him with Agrippa. Or let's say, Liz or Tink. This is fucking garbage. Low stats, they don't do much compared to Castor. Castor is, you want to make your team min max to power up the Castor. If they're not buffing the Castor, they're worthless. If they're not synergizing them, worthless. So that's why Winkle beat him up so he can exalt more. So this is just an example of the Castor one. And obviously you want to use his wheel to keep as many wings. You store up many turns and you kill. Basically you want a vuln source. Anyone that inflicts vuln, whatever Waker you have that inflicts vuln, you can put it here. Caucus, anyone. He's a more flexible unit than most. Now let's say you want to use 24. I have my 24 here. It's uninvested. I don't like her gameplay, but she's the strongest blue poison unit in the game if mixed with blue. It's not even close. Everyone use 24 blue. I just don't like using it because it's not enough cards to play. It's not enough dopamine into my brain. But she has one of the highest attack values scaling in the game. This is 168 at level 60. My calf is just below that. Like, it's insane scaling stats. And if you whale her out, she even gets even more stats. She's one of the highest attack units in the game. I think she is the highest attack unit in the game. So let's prove it. Let me find a whale. So here we go. This is level 90. 231 fully maxed out here. Let's see Tawil. Tawil is also pretty high, but not as high. Yeah, 165. Look at Calf, 204. Yeah, she is the highest statted attack awaker in the game. Like, let's look at Dorsain, 193. Let's look at Gellet, 187. So she's the best option to use her pyramids and to weigh her out. She's one of the strongest units scaling wise in the game. That's why she's S tier if you put in a lot of levels in her. It has nothing to do with her E level. It has everything to do with that stat and the Soul Forge. So this, since she has the highest attack stat in the game, this, when you max out, also gives it 30% of that. So the scaling on her cards, especially in blue, becomes insane. The most insane in the game, actually. So everyone knows there are several ways to play her. Blue is the best option by far and is not even biased. Just look at every 24, every D-Tide. It's all blue 24. Because it's blue 24 and everyone else. Counter 24 got nerfed. In Arc 1, Counter 24 was the strongest 24, which is purple 24. 24 switches. I'm not going to go briefly over it because I have tutorial videos on 24 in other videos. So I'm going to go briefly over it and I'm going to show you the comp. So blue 24 is poison 24. Purple 24 is counter 24. And counter got nerfed in Arc 2. Red 24 is the whole embryo gen making babies. She makes the babies. Exalt 24 is mono. Mono Chaos is just Exalt 24. You can read what each 24 does. It's a lot. Here we go. Chaos. Crit rate, crit damage. Exalt 24. Poison 24. Baby 24. Counter 24. That is, and obviously the cards do different things. The Exalt does different things. Exalt 24. Poison 24. Baby 24. Counter 24. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. If you can't follow it, sorry, you're an Ultra player. So what wheels do you use on her? So if you're a new player, you don't pull for her wheel. Her wheel is garbage in her. It got power crept. When she first came out, it was a great wheel. It was fine. So we recommended, I always recommend her wheel, even though it's garbage. Exalt damage, blah, 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 and this. Alien Miss at turns end, crit rate, and crit damage. No, 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 no. You don't want this. It's Alien Miss regen, all that. So, what does 99% of players, unless you're fucking garbage, use on 24? Battle Pass wheel. Pay to win. This is the best wheel on 24. The Battle Pass wheel. Why the Battle Pass wheel? Base damage, poison. She does poison equals to her damage dealt. It doubles up. Crit rate, crit damage, 20%. Damage amp. All that juicy stuff, second option, you put on the Titan's Blade. Like 99% of the DPS in this game. This is your 24. Battle Pass wheel, Titan's Blade. This is the end game. If you don't have one of these plus 12, the priority, probably Sunfall, I would say. Why Sunfall? Because you're unlikely to plus 12 Goliath's Blade as a new player this early. What Covenant to use on her? Steppenwolf. Why? Poison and counter. Even if you use purple 24, buff. Boom. Done. Now, what partners does she want? Low to high investment. Now, people say G-Doll. G-Doll, very high investment. It does work very well. High investment. You will not get that if you are a free-to-play player anytime soon. So what do you use? You put in, if you have a Miriam, you put her in. If you don't have Miriam, you put in the Goliath. Okay? For his Exo option 2, again, go in my video. Why do you use Goliath? Not as a DPS carry. He buffs her. Now, how do you live early game? Slot into Knot. Okay. What other unit do you put in this, players? Well, what are we missing here? We have a Vuln source with it. If you need a more consistent Vuln or a more consistent weakness or more survival, you either put it in the Caucus or the Solis. Or if you want big dick shields, you put in the fucking Mm, yeah, I will actually just put in the caucus. He just sits there. It's fine. And then you put in Giramona. Let's see, what units I have right now? Yeah. You can either remove... So, who do you remove first to put in Ramona if you don't have one of these? Which is the least important unit? I would say Nautilus. Why? Because you're going to pull on blue anyway. E3 caught, E3 go F. So you're probably not going to have Nautilus E3. What you are going to have is Ramona. Why do you want Ramona as a cheap option for this comp that works well? Her Exalt. Draws one card from the draw or discard pile added to your hand, reduces Earth cost to 0. Now you want to use this when her 3 cost is in the discard pile. So you can get it again, and when you reshuffle, you play it. So if you have Frenzy Slash, this is her big dick damage card. You play Frenzy Slash. You Ramona Exalt to pull it from discard pile. You play again, and next turn you can have it back because you don't want to play it when it's in your draw pile, basically. You want to play it when it's in your discard pile. So this is the cheap option. Now, if you spend more money, what do you add in first? What's the first unit you replace and add in? It's either the Ramona or the Caucus for the Miriam. Now, let's remove the Big Cock, even though I like him a lot. Put in the Miriam. Why do you add in this Miriam? She can feed Alienus to 24, and she synergizes with Poison a little bit. And obviously, she has one of the best routes in the game. So, let's say you want to make this comp even stronger. What's the next unit you replace? You replace the Ramona. You put in the G-Doll. This is the endgame version. Now, you can make a variety of comps of her, as long as she's in blue. All you need is one blue unit, the best realm, in order to make blue 24 a thing. Let's say you don't have Miriam and G-Doll. Who else is good? Corpo. Corpo, you can reshuffle your deck and Pluck Bone help you survive, so you can pull more 24 cards to play. Again, limitless options here. Let's say you have the Hamel, you put the Hamel in. You dupe her 3 costs. More. What posse to use? So, a lot of posses. Best one, 99% of players use, unless you're a fucking garbage player, is Sea Festival. Draw 2 cards, gain 2 mana. Shuffle your deck, inflict poison. So this is the 24 comp. So again, wheels, you put on whatever wheels you have. The carry unit in these meta comps is the important. S-Key bot, whatever. Whatever wheels you have for S-Key. Every player's account is different. All that matters is the main carry. Everyone knows the calf video I made. Everyone knows the comps. Everyone knows the paradox and the whole Albo wheel trick. I said Sanga because I used on Sanga. I made a mistake. But this dupes her card. Her E3 makes you start with Fiamma, and that counts. So she's unplayable if you don't have her E3. Unplayable. This is essential. If you don't have this, you don't play calf. You play anything else. So you put that wheel, Alba wheel, and you put in a second wheel. You put in Goliath's Blade. Or calf wheel if you want. Or Sunfall. Anything. But you're a new player, you don't have that many wheels. So just put in one of her wheels. So, or if you want to live, put in Land of Non-Existence to add another defense card to your deck. So we can all start with Fiamma. This is the survival cap. Now, I like Paradox more, but if you don't have Paradox, Thieves is good for more defense. For more defense. So this is cheap calf. Now, if you're playing cheap calf, you don't have that many units. You do probably have a Karen. Put her in. A Rift. Important. What else do you have if you're free to play? Where are you going to get your weakness and bone sources without Riker? Again, we're going to add Riker in later, but this is for account. So, where do you add in the bone? You mix her with Caucus to apply bone, or you mix her with Ultra to apply bone. Now, which of these give bone? So, Erica. Erica gives Vaughn on her exalt. And you put in a Winkle, so she exalts more. So this is one version of a cheap comp, limited, 3 standards. Now, if you want to put her in red, you put her with Aegis for the Vaughn. You need a Vaughn source somewhere, because she does not apply Vaughn. Karen has the weakness covered. And then you put in the Feint. Again, she's one of the more flexible units at E3. Without it, garbage. Now, if you want to play her pure Chaos, you can just put in the Ogier and the Ramona. This works too. This is your source of weakness. This is your source of Vaughn. This is your draw. This is your oh shit exalt draw. And Esky bot. Now, Festival or Calf Posse or Mouse. Either 3 posses work. So, let's say you have more money. You want to make an endgame wailed out calf. So, you still use Alba so you can have more things. Second wheel, it can either be Blade of the Titan for the crit rate. This is a very good option, as always, most cases. Or this, but recommended Titan's Blade. You're done. Paradox, Endgame. So Karen, you start replacing these two because they can go in a Dorsain or another comp. So right now we want to add in the G Ramona and the Riker. This is a mono calf. Why do you play this? This is your Esky bot. So you can posse. Because of her talent. She gets Esky end of turn, equal to her key flare regen. Riker, this is your Vaughn source with his dice. Now, if let's say you want to pair with different units, let's say you don't have those two. Another good endgame comp, you can put in the Castor, because she can proc all of Castors, and her cards have retained. Castor works just fine with her. And let's see. Put her with Castor, she doesn't demand that much mana. You put in the Karen like always, still put in the Riker. Or put in the Winkle. This is another option. She's very flexible. All you need to think of, where is my bone source? Where is my weakness source? And what units do I don't want to play their cards? Hamel works too, not as well as the other, because Hamel is needed by Tawil or other meta teams. Okay, but yes, but flares, those are all limited units. What are some good free-to-play, no limited unit meta team? So, if you're going to use only non-limited, Caucus works fine. You put in the Goliath, and then the Song can help you live, and then you put in the Ramona. Or, if you don't need the revive, you replace it, you put in Not. This can get you through most of the story. These 4 units. Most of the story is not an end game team. It's an early game team. And it's pretty cheap. Because all standard units. Now let's say you don't have the Nautilus. You just pick whatever other unit you don't want to play. But we're going to go over meta teams that you'll probably use endgame. For D-tied other things. Like Dorsain is a meta team. He's not as strong as Calf, wailed out. He's not as strong as other units. He's more inconsistent. Even Corpo is more consistent than Dorsain. Because his whole thing is he deals damage based on how much percentage HP the boss is missing. Sometimes the boss has so much HP that you're not going to get it to a low enough percentage where Dorsain can really work his magic. Now, the cheap option I always run with is Ogier, Doll, and I put in Ramona or a random other unit. So this is probably one of the cheaper teams, so Pikmin. This is what I run, because I'm using units elsewhere in D-Tide. So, his wheel. Let's go. His wheel, Bloody Feast plus 12 is what you should aim for. These two are what you should aim for right now. And Covenant, people say April, if you want a one-shot for mobs, but on boss fights, either Hand or Crimson Pulse. Crimson Pulse is the better one, is better for the crit rate. Because you're mostly going to posse. And you use Dorsain's posse. Which is scroll all the way down. And Cruel Homage. use his posse, put it there, these units. You need someone to be an SQ bot, pick and choose, or you can put in dies and whatnot. You need to watch my Dorsain video for more. So those are the main meta comps you're going to see endgame used most of the times. They are main carry and whatever. They're mostly all limited units. Endgame comps are all one limited carries, and you put in standards, you pepper in standard awakers with them. The only standard awakers that can carry endgame most D-Tide waves, if you whale them out, A5 consistently. Notice I use the word consistently. Because Jenkins can do endgame. Not consistency, not on every boss. Some bosses, Jenkins gets utterly gapped. If the boss has counter, you don't play Jenkins. It's over. It's over for Jenkins if the boss has counter. Not consistent. Now let's see. Arita, same problem. Not consistent. Require too much resources for endgame. So, most of them are not as consistent as limited. Everyone knows why. They want your money. The most consistent one is Lotan. I'll make a Lotan comp video because the base welfare team can clear every content in the game and has been done. So these 4 units clear every content. It's just time gated because you need them plus 12 and invested. And they scale quite well. That is the only one that can consistently clear content if you invest in them heavily out of all the standard units. Because Cactus, great supportive character to Tawil. Great supportive character. Goliath, support character. You notice the trend here? All of the DPS standards, like the only strong one is Uvosh, and you need shit ton of investments. And when you whale him out level 90, he still only does 300,000, 400,000 or 500,000 damage. That's nothing. 500,000 damage is nothing. When Gellet whaled out, can do millions of damage. When Tawil whaled out, can do millions of damage. Calf can do millions of damage. Dorsain can do millions of damage. Endgame, you're thinking about damage in the millions. And only a few units can do damage that well. So let's look at the leaderboards. There's me on the leaderboards. I don't spend a lot. I spend my resources effectively. Now you can also see, don't have the max XD boosts because I don't whale that hard. I don't need to buy the value packs. And I've been playing the game for a while. I wouldn't spend like a certain amount. I think I'm going to spend like $80 a month. Or probably less than that now. I haven't been spending a lot. So these are the meta teams I use. Calf. Solis. Great. Calf again. I borrow a whale calf. Wave 2. Dorsain. Can only do alert 4. Wave 4. This is my Arita team. The G-Doll team. Another alert 5. Castor team again. These units do nothing. What Morimens here for is for the heals. Why is Pharaoh's here? For her exalt to draw Castor's plumes in your hand. Why is Jenkins here? To proc Castor's corrosion. Doesn't matter. Alert 5. These are alert 5 max ability. This is the Gellet team. Meta team. Alert 5. This is my Blue Will team without G-Doll because I'm putting G-Doll in wave 3. Like, I showcase what I do. I practice what I preach, unlike other content creators who are fucking garbage. Let's see. Wave 1. Gellet. This is last D-Tide. Wave 2. Dorsain. Again, not consistent. Not consistent A5. A4, easy. This is my Arita team again. A4. This is my Calf team. A5. We'll put him Castor this time because that boss needed a bit more shield. Wave 4. Whale Calf team. I put in this because it was Caro Wing. Wave 5. Blue Will team. So you're going to see the same meta teams get used over and over again. And because those are the strongest possible teams endgame. Those are the meta teams. They're meta for a reason. Now, the only one I did cover, the only one I don't use is 20. Like, this is the 24 blue team. She, as long as you have blue units, is a 24 blue team. Now, she does insane damage. Look. 45,000 poison, end the battle in 4 turns. So the whole concept of the blue 24 is to kill the boss before it kills you. Because this team has very little survivability. You proc the R, you proc the Solis, because you're going to die. You just hope the boss dies before you. That's how you play blue 24, and I don't like that. I don't like that playstyle personally. But that's what most people use this. This is the Tentacle Arita team. Where's the meta fucking team? Here we go. So this is the end game because they use it for the stats basically here. Where is it? There's always a 24 team. This is Mono Will. They believe in Mono Will. This is garbage team. Here. This is a 24 blue team. You kill the boss before it kills you. This is 24 blue. So that goes over every meta team and an option for new players. How you progress, how you build up that team. Now, I'm going to go over one more comp before this video is over. Is the Salvador team. Salvador is also meta. However, no one runs him real D-Tide endgame as the way he's supposed to be. You know why? Because he demands dies. Who else demands dies? Everyone else. But if you like Salvador, just watch my Salvador video and run him. He is very strong. He can clear all content for you just fine. He will not clear it fast. You won't die. You will not die if you play Salve with dice correctly. You will never die. It may take you 20, 30 turns, but the boss will die eventually.